What up, my freaks? RuinousInsight here with part 20 of my Total Warhammer 2 modded Throgg campaign. So as we saw last time with the destruction of the Black Pit, Marienburg's settlements are down to 2, being Loren Forest and its extremely weak garrison that Throgg will most likely auto-resolve, as well as the fort over here, which we can't auto-resolve, but since it generates no money, I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem, even though I don't like how close it is to Marienburg and to Eilhart. We are still sieging Eilhart with Wulfrik, who is about to attack it in maybe 30-ish seconds or something like that. And we also have our army belonging to Sirtha Ek, well, quote-unquote army. Sirtha Ek is acting as a chariot ferry, carrying all the extra troll and Fimir units over to Throgg so that he can buff up his army. So that'll be pretty nice, with Throgg finally getting a little bit more beastly. Now, in addition to that, between the episodes, I noticed over here, it seems like the High Elves have finally decided to do something about their whole situation. Tyrion himself is coming with all of his special items, and he's level 22. Pretty disgusting, as well as whoever Tilly is, you're Eltharion, right? Ivres. Okay, so Tilly. Wait, will these guys peace out? No, they're not gonna peace out. Okay. Yeah, I saw the hostile thing, and I was just like, yeah, it's not gonna happen. Okay, well, this is obviously gonna be a problem. Longi can't defend itself against a single elf stack. What we might do is get another temporary lord in here for a couple turns, take the a loss in terms of treasury, and just use that to inflict a little bit more damage to these elves. Will they be able to take Kurun? Yeah, they'll equally be able to take Kurun. Honestly, neither of these places can defend themselves right now. What we need to do is we need to take Eilhart and then have Wulfrik book it back here. Well, if Longi falls, Wulfrik might still be able to save Kurun. I'd really not like to lose it now that it's level 3 and has all these construction buildings and all that stuff, but I guess we'll see. With that, I believe this turn can end. Nobody else can move, or rather we can attack Eilhart. We should probably get the Lord in here, though. The question is, what Lord? Oh wait, not Hero, Lord. We could get a Marauder Chieftain in here. The thing is, if Tyrion comes along, we probably can't bother with getting a Lord that, like, he would wreck a Fimir. He would absolutely wreck a Fimir. But honestly, he'd probably wreck any lord. I'm almost tempted to say we should go for one of the Pathfinder lords instead of one of the other lords. Public order, chaos, corruption, income from all buildings, stupid again, and uncompromising. Let's get this level 7 guy, Calcagil the Ripper. I don't really care if he dies. And he probably, well, he definitely will die. I just feel like he could do a little bit more damage, maybe even kill the Lord belonging to Ivres before Tyrion comes out to play. So, let's recruit you in here. Was this guy a leader of one of the other Norscan factions? I believe he's immortal. Let's see, he's got points in Acclaimed Hunter, which doesn't really help us. I was hoping that he'd have more points in this, but let's see. We got Hex and Flow of Battle, and you have Norscan Resilience. Wow. This is kind of useless, isn't it? I mean, we expected it to be useless. He does have the Voice of the Dark Gods, which sort of helps us out. Let's get trophies in the meantime. Speed and charge speed might... No, you know what? We'll get the, we'll get him a Warhorse, so that if what's his face? If Tyrion runs after him, he can at least get away a little bit. Now, let's do that. Calcagil the Ripper. There you go, buddy. You're gonna cost us a lot of money. Several thousand per turn. In addition to that, I want to see if we can temporarily get a hero in here, and just to do a little bit more damage to that army. The question is, what kind of hero? We could go for... we can go for another fire guy. Probably the best use of it. It's either metal or fire against the elves. We won't be able to kill Tyrion, there's no way, but I would like to cripple their army. So it's basically between the Burning Head and Gehenna's Golden Hounds, and we probably won't have enough points to go into Final Transmutation, but Searing Doom is very, very nice. The problem with Searing Doom is that it's... if you miss, it's not that great, and we won't be able to hold the line very long, because our front line will just buckle very, very quickly. Which makes me think that Burning Head is probably the better option. Alright, yeah, let's see. You... temporarily summon Fire Guy. Go to Diabolic Splendor. Can you get in here immediately? No, you can't. Ah, damn it. So this guy will land. It'll just be a question of whether he'll be able to attack Longi in one turn or not. And then if he can, or rather if he can't, we'll get this guy in that army, and if he can, we'll have to just disable him, or disband him, rather. Alright, let's max out the Kindle Flame and Burning Head. Evasion. And I guess we pop... we probably have to choose. I feel like if we get Burning Head, Flame Storm is probably not going to be as useful. But it deals no armor pierce. I feel like we go for Piercing Bolts. And then Magical Reserves. And one more point. The basic level of the Flaming Sword does... It's fairly decent, but it costs so much mana. This guy won't be able to cast that much. Cascading Fire Cloak. You know what? Get 1 point in there because it's cheap. And you might still be able to cast it. Won't be able to get too much use out of the Fireball anyway. Alright. Out of the other cheap casts. Okay, and that's it. Let's try to recruit some units here. Just because we can. I don't expect that they'll get in here. You know what we'll do? We will recruit 3 Marauder Chariots. If nothing else, they should be able to kill the enemy. Ooh, or we could recruit 3 Feral Manticores. Oh man, that's a question. Or we could recruit 3 Norscan Trolls. If only they were Ice Trolls, I would have done that. But the regular Trolls aren't as good, and they rout very, very quickly, don't they? Maybe 3 Chariots is a little bit too much. This guy's probably going to land, and we're not going to get anything out of this anyway. Let's go 2 Norscan Icewolf Chariots, and then... Wait, will this place have a Manticore already? Yeah, it will. Will 2 Manticores be able to handle Tyrion? Oh wait, Longi. No, there is no Manticore here. So the reason I'm thinking about maybe going for a Manticore is just to have it go after enemy artillery. We don't know whether they will have artillery, of course. Trolls will probably help hold the line, though. Especially interspersed among the defenders here. I'm probably overthinking this, because this place has no reasonable way of winning, but nonetheless. We could also maybe... Wait, Lord, maybe recruit another hero, because what if they can all get in here? Temporarily, at least. Really defend against these units. Oh, yeah, you know what? Let's get Infernal Dominance. Yeah, why not? This is all going to cost insane amounts of cash. Yeah, we're negative now, and we're going to get another hero. Like I said, we're going to delete all these heroes anyway, so it won't matter. Perceptive versus Shadows. This guy will be another Firecaster, though. But he's so fragile. But maybe we'll get to be able to cast 2 Burning Heads. Yeah, let's do that. There we go. 3 heroes, all going to go into that army. See if we can't defend. Like... This Candle Flame, a max out Burning Head, Evasion, another Magical Reserves, which is going to help. And you, unlike the other guy, are going to put your points in the Flame Storm just in case. Right here. 2 points in Flame Storm. There we go. And then, who else did I get? Did I get a Werekin here? No, I got one of, wait. Huh? Did I accidentally recruit 2 Bale Fiends? Yeah, I did. Whoops. Well, whatever. We'll recruit 2 temporarily. They'll be in the army. They'll all die anyway. Let's see. The Withering against all the enemies in range. It doesn't reduce armor, though. I was thinking that if we could use a spell that reduces enemy armor... Penumbral Pendulum does armor pierce. You know what? Let's go Penumbral Pendulum. We won't be able to cast Burning Heads and Penumbral Pendulums anyway, but let's do that. Magical Reserves, then pop a couple points in Fit of Shades. There we go. And a Weird... you know what? No, we're probably going to be dropping too much cash. So don't bother with the Werekin, I think. Especially as I think these guys won't land here. Will land here next turn, and then we won't be able to get anything out of it. Go for Norse Controls. There we go. And that's it for the recruitment. Unless we can global recruit anybody at 1 turn. No, it doesn't look like it. Not even our weak units. Okay, that's fine. That is fine. We should probably switch this... Oh, right, they have no... Okay, never mind. I was thinking about a commandment. Okay, anyway, now it's time to go for Eilhard. Now that that is prepared for next turn. We could wait here for another turn to get all of our units up on top of the walls, but I think Wulfrik has to take this and go back immediately. We have no choice here. Alright, and before I launch this fight, a little bit more talking. This is the 20th episode in the series, and therefore a multiple of 5, which is, as you guys recall, when I like to remind you guys to drop those likes and comments if you've been enjoying this particular content and want to support the channel, etc., etc., as... you know, the Let's Plays compete with each other, yada yada yada. It's important to manipulate the algorithm. You guys know the drill. I know, it's annoying. It annoys me too. I always got annoyed when watching other people's Let's Plays back in the day. But, you know, it's something you gotta do on YouTube, so there it is. Let's get to it. Alrighty, here we go. Wulfrik against the last remaining bastion of Reichland, and it will be a siege, which I'm really happy about, with siege towers. I always get really excited when we get siege towers on the field, just because they feel like such a rarity in Total Warhammer. Generally, I'm way too impatient to properly siege a settlement, and we'll just go in and break through the gates and stuff. We'll never bother building siege towers unless it's either necessary or it's fun. And it's very, very rarely necessary. But it is always fun, so that's why I do get excited. And so, here's how we do this. We are sending Wulfrik and the Ram up front. We have our tankiest unit, our Icehorn Marauders, moving around and carrying the gate, just because they're liable to take a lot of damage. The enemies have a lot of range units up here. They have their towers. They even have armor-piercing handgunners and a mortar all the way back here. So there's definitely a lot of damage that's going to be coming in. We are going to send Wulfrik in first, just because he is... I mean, my reasoning here was that he should be reasonably tanky with his 115 or 126 or something like that armor, as well as the fact that he has that shield item, the defense... Well, he has a shield, but he also has that defensive shield item that allows him to gain 20%... ward save, I believe, or just general damage resistance, as well as a plus 25% to parry with shield. So hopefully that will at least prevent him from taking too much damage, but I feel like the way that item works is when he's on his mammoth, it doesn't really do anything. Because in theory, he's shielded, but I don't see his shield blocking anything. The mammoth is just going to take a lot of the damage. As we can see, its health is dropping already, and that's before they get any real volleys out there. And you can see just a couple volleys in, I already start panicking a little bit because I can see how much Wulfrik has dropped and how long of a way he still has to go. Still, at least the damage sponge is going to help us with regards to getting the Icehorn Marauders here in time, as Wulfrik does heal fairly fast when he's in the... when he's in one of our own settlements. And the enemies are going to get some volleys off with their guns as well, which is going to do quite a bit more damage. Let's speed it up while we're at it and watch this scary sight. I mean, the Defenders gotta know they're basically dead as soon as the towers reach them, and they're not targeting the towers at all. Everything is going and hitting Wulfrik. And just look how much more fragile Wulfrik is as compared to Throgg. Throgg would have taken basically 2% damage, would have healed it up while while he was firing at the gate here. I feel like another reason to get to attack von Karstein might be just to kill Isabella if she's alive and get regeneration on Wulfrik, because I feel like he needs it. Unless one of his items gives him it, he's always been suffering from his relative fragility. I mean, look at that, 30% HP remaining, while Throgg would have had 100%. And yeah, I don't expect Wulfrik or his mammoth to be as resilient as Throgg is, but nonetheless. Alright, and here we go. One of the benefits of having the towers here is that we can actually move our Icehorn Marauders behind it and use the tower to actually block a lot of shots, which is why one of the reasons they're going to take a little bit less damage, but obviously they're still going to get shot up. In the meantime, over here on the side, we have all of our Skinwolves as well as Egrim, the Skinwolf in Wulfrik's army. They're going to attack the gate. I thought that they would be able to destroy the gate faster, but they are incredibly slow at it. I feel like we need another specialist unit to deal with it. Now you guys can see the Icehorn Marauders are being targeted by everybody, but they're doing pretty well. It looks like they are actually blocking a lot of shots, unlike Wulfrik. Although, I mean, he obviously still benefited from the 20% damage resistance that the item gives him. But these guys are doing real nice. Look at him actually walk up under all this fire. You see how it's done, Wulfrik? I mean, they're also going to go down to like half HP, but still. And mortar's coming in, and it looks like our towers have finally breached the walls. I actually did get a cast of Sea Fang off on these guys. You can see them at half HP, but I completely forgot about it. Plus, it's not a big deal. We're going to get some more casts off. Speaking of casts, I am moving the Shaman Sorcerer in just for that purpose. He's also going to drop some burning bolts on top of the walls, because that's one of the things that can target the walls. And here we go. All of our Berserkers are on this side, and they are streaming out of the towers here. So I doubt these handgunners, or these crossbowmen rather, are going to have a great time defending against Berserkers. And here come the burning bolts, and some mortar shells coming in as well. Burning bolts are going to fall upon the enemy archers. I was hoping just to distract them a little bit so that they didn't continue killing our precious Icehorn Marauders. Ooh, and I like the burning effect that's left there for a little while. I wish that it would stay and burn for a little while longer. And here we go. This is pretty much the proper debut of the Marauder champions. I like their helmets. Very classic, classic Marauder champion helmets we got over here. I believe the regular Marauders don't have those kind of helmets, right? They don't have the full-faced ones. Those helmets remind me of the possessed units, because they always, you rarely see their faces. Anyway, there we go. Over here we do have our special unit of Marauder. Wait, no, it's not. Where is it? I believe I told it to do something, but I don't remember where it is now. Question Axers, Marauder Berserkers. Oh, here they are. Brutes of the Hound. Oh, okay. They're the ones doing the most damage to the crossbowmen. Go figure. I should have recognized them by the fact that they have the red magical chaos axes, as opposed to the regular axes that the other Berserkers use. Even your filthy regular axes. And yeah, once again, I'm pretty happy with the Marauder champions. They used to be really weak. They used to be one of the weaker units in vanilla, as I recall, and not worth it. But in SFO, they look like they're pretty decent, especially with the upgrades. Alright, here we go. Wulfrik is actually going to go in with his Mammoth. Finally going to do some damage. Very, very nice. We're also going to get a Flame Storm out here. First use of that particular spell as well. Nice little fiery tornado. Obviously, Wulfrik's going to get beat up, but he will have the Icehorn Marauders to hide behind. And look at that fiery tornado go to town. Amazing. You gotta love the fire spells. They're so flashy and they do so much damage. Absolutely lovely. And there we go. We have the Berserkers moving off the walls already. They are being blocked by a unit of swordsmen here, but that shouldn't really be too much of an issue unless they get too many mortar shells dropping among them. We also have a Sea Fang cast coming off, trying to wreck these guys, and because I believe it does armor-piercing damage, because these guys all basically got wrecked by that one Sea Fang cast. And I also love the fact that it bounces off the walls. Sometimes that can be really effective, with it with it taking or doing a lot more damage, or various spells that act like that, doing a lot more damage than they otherwise would. Wulfrik's getting some revenge. His Mammoth is just smashing units around, but you can see that he actually took quite a bit more damage. He dropped considerably more here. I don't know whether that was the Outriders firing at him, or whether it was the Halberdiers poking him, but yeah, once again, quite fragile. And these guys are now basically fine. I don't believe they're going to take any more damage, because the enemy units are too weak to actually deal with the Icehorn Marauders. And I gotta say, I'm loving this Regiment of Renown. It's basically the only chosen, quote-unquote chosen, rather, unit that we have. Now, over here, the enemy had their best unit on the field, Zinthor's Reiksguard. They are going to be fighting our Marauder champions with shields that we sent off the walls. And the shielded Marauder champions are doing quite good in defending against these guys. I would have thought they would take more damage, but no. They're holding the line quite nicely with melee and in combat even. Obviously, there are Outriders here who are also who are not so good at melee, but these guys are fighting both of the Reiksguard and the Marauders, or the Outriders at the same time. However, it doesn't mean we can't lend them a helping hand with yet another piercing burning bolts. And here we go, dropping in. Lovely. Let's see how much damage we did. So the Outriders took about half HP, whereas the Reiksguard didn't take so much damage, but that is to be expected because of all their armor. Now the main part of the battle is basically over because the walls have essentially been cleared, and it was a fairly easy fight on top of the walls, simply because Berserkers are pretty lovely up on the walls. If the enemy isn't killing them with range units, they do great up there. Because they can't really get surrounded, so their fragileness doesn't really come into play as much. I mean, obviously they could get surrounded if the enemy had a ton of units on the walls, but because of the way that they come out of the tower in a blob, it does certainly help them out if there are multiples of them on the walls, which are now completely clear, I believe, except for the one Empire Captain, I believe that's here. Yeah, he's going to get surrounded by this Marauder company with great weapons. They are not going to rout. And they're not going to really kill him either. They will do enough damage because they do armor piercing with those two-handers, but probably not enough. And I just want to point out that, remember what I said about the skin wolves being slow at breaking down gates? Battle's basically over, and they're still at 58% damage. So this really didn't work out. I was basically all in on this and thinking that, you know, I could send them back here, but whatever. Just try to break through the gate, but they never will. Poor skin wolves. They just wanted to nom. And anyway, Wulfrik is now once again in the fight. He's still hurt, so we are going to be careful, just doing a little bit of cycle charging in, charging the Zinthler's Reiksguard, and then charging out so that he doesn't take too much damage. In fact, going to move the Marauders champions back here and have their backs against the wall. Now, the reason for this is A, so that they didn't get surrounded, but B, our range units are finally here. Our anti-large javelin throwers are going to be able to wreck the Zinthler's Reiksguard, because that's what they're made for. And even though the Marauder champions did a great job, it's just faster to do this with the Javelineers. I also noticed that Wulfrik dropped even more HP as a couple shots from the Javelins hit him. It would have been ironic if he had died to friendly fire, wouldn't it? And there we go, got another little Sea Fang attack, and the Zinthler's Reiksguard are broken, along with a Chariot charge to add that leadership debuff, as well as some... Oh, I should have turned that off. As well as some of the...
Don't give them an inch!
Frostbite, that's what I was thinking of. Damn. And there we go, yet another piercing burning bolts going into this pile of units. In the meantime, if you guys have noticed that the mortars aren't firing, well, that's because our other pile of Marauders, the one that won against the units on these walls here, just moved around here through this courtyard and then attacked these guys, destroying the mortars basically instantly, and then surrounding the enemy Lord. An enemy Arch-Elector, in fact, who has a lot of damage resistance coming out of that Faith's Bastion and Grand Shield of Faith in combination. I guess he doesn't have Soul Fire, because these guys aren't taking damage to it. Would love to see Volkmar with some Grand Soul Fire, but I don't think we'll be seeing him. But anyway, let's see. These guys, once again, I think they're the MVP, because not only did they push through the ram, not only did they help Wulfrik being the only units through the gate other than Wulfrik, they now held the line over here against all the units that came back, and didn't really take all that much damage, still at 49 models and a little bit over, let's say, 30% HP. Quite happy with these guys. And that battle, I believe, is just about over. The wolves, the werekin, and skin wolves. Man, I keep combining those words every episode. It gets confusing. There we go. They never broke through the gate, but we have broken through the enemy forces, hacked their flesh apart, and that's just as good, because this battle is over. The hero didn't really take any damage, but the Berserkers appeared to not be particularly good at dealing with something like an Arch-Elector. I was a little bit disappointed that the Beasts of Tashnar, which I believe are an anti-large specialist, weren't able to bring the Arch-Elector down upon surrounding him, but they are still a fairly basic unit, so maybe it shouldn't be all that surprising. And yeah, once again, I really gotta turn that off. And there we go, a decisive victory for sure. We barely took any damage whatsoever. Mostly it was Wulfrik. He almost died, but he had to tank all those shots for... he took one for the team, basically. Whereas the team is essentially unharmed. The most damage by far going into the Icehorn Marauders, and they'll be fine once they heal up, so we're good. And And there we go, a really fun battle if I do say so myself. Our Marauders didn't actually suffer very much damage at all, not even the Icehorn Marauders, who I probably gotta give the MVP to just for basically face tanking everything. They were the ones on the ram, and they took a lot of shots from gunners and range units and towers right after Wulfrik did, and appeared to have actually taken a lot less damage than he did. And they were getting hit by mortars too, so I feel like they should have taken a little bit more than they did, but they do have an insane amount of armor. Though, on the other hand, so does Wulfrik, but he's relatively fragile. I really thought that that the Charmed Shield that we activated for the missile parry and damage resistance would really help us out against the range focus there, but really not so much. He came very close to, I believe it was half HP when he hit the gate and then took even more damage. So, yeah, but everybody else did quite well. The Brutes of the Hound also did very, very nicely in terms of kills at the very least, and so did this other Berserker unit, and everybody else was about even. Gotta say, the Marauder Champions also pretty much cleaned house, and the ones with the great weapons did beat most of the Zerkers, except for this one unit. This one was after this one. They beat most of the Zerkers in terms of damage, so that's pretty nice as well. Although I will admit that these guys were on the side, whereas the Zerkers were on the well, on the eastern side of the wall, whereas these guys are on the western side, which kind of made it a little bit easier for these guys to do the damage. Anyway, there we go. We're gonna need Wulfrik to heal up. Almost makes me tempted to say ignore sacking it and just raise it so we could go back. But, you know what, just sack it for now. Just sack it for now, and I feel like what we have to do... Ooh.
Tribesmen, gather.
This no longer has walls. I'm almost tempted to say move Wulfrik in march stance all the way to Kurun. So, if Longi falls, this will allow him to protect him. And maybe Surtha Ek could actually just raise Eilhart by himself. This isn't really an army, but it should be enough to destroy this one tiny area with basically no garrison, no walls. Yes, okay, I think that's a good plan. Anyway, heroes not moved. Frisky, let's go to Uber's Reich, steal some more of their precious beer tech, and let's go to... What else are we gonna do here? We don't really need spread corruption on you. I feel like we just go through power sap to go for potent. We could also go for twisted architecture. You know what? It's only 1 point, and it's possible that we'll actually get some use out of it. On the other hand, just go power sap. Because I thought we probably wouldn't be moving back all the way over here anyway with Frisky. Speaking of... You've already moved. Speaking of tech stealers. Torvaldek. Hey! Any relation to Surtha? Power sap, please. There we go. Alrighty, and did Wulfrik level up? Well, his horde certainly did. Viking Expedition, go for it. And he himself did not, but he will heal most of his HP here, so I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, now you. I saw that we got a ton of use out of piercing bolts of burning there, even more so than the burning head, which we didn't use in that battle because we were mostly reliant on Wulfrik's Sea Fang ability. So I feel like we just gotta level up piercing bolts as well. I mean, we also gotta use out of Flamestorm. I mean, they both did well. Anyway, good job. Loving the fire cast. Very, very helpful. Alright, Wulfrik, hopefully you can survive against Tyrion. I'd love to see the duel, but I'm 100% sure Tyrion is gonna, you know, smash your face in. Sorry, Wulfrik, but you're not powerful enough yet. You're only at level 18. You don't have your Sword of Torgald, which I wanted to do this episode, but since the High Elves are here, we're gonna have to defend against them. And, yeah, Surtha X he's really gonna help here. Huh. Damn, if you could recruit right now, we could just... I really wanted to trade this chariot to Surtha. I guess he could move back here, meaning Throgg's going to take a little bit extra time to get his monsters, but it's okay. Surtha has to follow him in that direction anyway, so it's not a huge deal. Alrighty, let's end the turn. Let's see. Eatane, Ivres... Oh, what the hell are they doing? You gotta be kidding me. They're not going to attack Longi. We wasted all this money for nothing. Okay, game. Okay. Smart move, I gotta say. But then he's going to land somewhere over here. We're supposed to... Oh, this is good. Okay, Kemmler, you want a defensive alliance. That's swell. This is moderate. Do we really want a defensive alliance with you? Do we want to give you military access? I don't really want an alliance. You know what? Just go for military access for now. And just see if we can't get some money out of you. Let's go for 25. Wow, no. How about 1k? Really? Really? Never mind then. We'll wait until you get more money, then we'll do that. Okay, now we have to figure out what to do against this jerkface that sailed past Longyi. I guess he decided that Longyi wasn't going to be easy. Oh, Kislev and Sylvania are now fighting. Man, I'm almost tempted to let that happen. To let Kislev get a little bit stronger before we attack him. Rebellion in the Wasteland. What rebellion? Oh, imminent rebellion. Okay, Surtha can take care of it. In the meantime, Surtha, speaking of, go into Eilhart. Okay, yeah, this should be pretty... Oh! Volkmar is here. Oh, damn. Wait. This is important. I feel like Volkmar had a nice buff for defeating him. You know what? Encircle this place. Don't attack yet. I feel like we need to save Volkmar because I think these guys are dead. Yeah, they have one territory. This is the last place they have. You know what, Surtha, just siege this. We're gonna break off the siege. We're gonna send Wulfrik back here. I don't remember what buff Volkmar gives, but I feel like I remember it being nice. Could it be +3 melee attack and defense? I remember Balthazar Gelt gives armor, which would have also been lovely for the question axers and all the other Zerkers that are in here. But attack and defense, if that's Volkmar's buff, would be swell. If only I could remember what it was. It would be annoying if these guys actually try to attack us out here, and they very well might. Man. Oh well. And the unfortunate thing about all this is he would have appeared right here. And we can't reach him in normal stance. We could just abandon this place, but I feel like we have to go after this freaking jerkface.
This is absurd.
And your army isn't all that great. Oh, well, they got some Spire Guard. So they got some range firepower, fairly decent, 6 units, and no artillery. Oh, they have a Sun Dragon in there as well. But it looks like... What the hell? Where did Eatane go? No, seriously, Tyrion had a full stack out here. Where in the hell did he go? Did he sail out here? Are you fighting? No, they're not fighting.
This is absurd.
I don't understand where Tyrion disappeared to. I wish Sissoko would help us against this guy. I feel like Tilly's gonna take the Isle of Wights. Yeah, that can't defend itself. Okay, you know what? I think we have to delete you. You're a waste of time. Although, you did build 2 chariots, which we could give to Surtha. You know what? Delete these trolls, and we're gonna delete all these heroes. Or should we stay here for 1 turn, just in case Tyrion comes back? Because we have to leave you. Okay, you know what? Yeah. Everybody go in here. We're gonna disband all of you in a second. In a couple turns, rather. Like so, but for now you can defend. And in fact, get some more chariots. Surtha needs chariots. Yeah, actually, no, don't get chariots. We'll be losing too many troops that way. Okay, you, Wulfrik. Well, let's see if we can't force a battle here. It'll be real tough against that dragon. Are you in range? Oh, 1%. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. This army's actually in range. You idiots. You absolute idiots. I probably should have leveled Wulfrik up, but I don't want to stop him now, just in case that screws up the stance. And it is... amazing. Okay, balance of power is pretty even. The enemy is in March stance, though. So, I mean, obviously that doesn't affect all their range units at all, really. Well, actually, it's SFO, so it does really affect their range units. It should impact their missile damage as well. I actually wonder what the SFO impact is on range units in terms of vigor now. Does it impact reload time? In theory, I would think it would impact reload time and not damage. I mean, reload time is damage. You know what I mean. In a way. Anyway, well, I'm gonna fight this right now, but obviously I have to make a cut here because we just fought a cinematic battle with Wulfrik, and I guess we're gonna have to fight another one, so here's the cut. And there's the cut, and here we go. Alright, here we go, Wulfrik versus High Elves. Now, the enemy army is in march stance, but once again, the balance of power shows them to be still fairly strong, so we will have to be wary, especially because we don't have our monstrous units, aka our mammoths, in our army, but they certainly have theirs. A pair of phoenixes and a sun dragon. That will obviously be a job for our marauder hunters with javelins. And it's going to be very, very important to take those down because the berserkers, they are terrible at taking down those kind of models. So we need them to not be distracted by that, or at least that's the dream. Whether it will work out, I guess, is up to anyone. Now, interesting a little setup we have here. The main line is obviously where it should be, and Wulfrik is moving up in the front despite being kind of hurt. We are going to keep our units of Brutes of the Hound, our specialist berserker unit, all the way to the back, just in case one of the phoenixes or one of the or the dragon lands on top of our marauder hunters with javelins. I know what I just said, but these guys might be needed just to distract them long enough for the marauder hunters to move away and then to actually kill said large units. In addition to that, starting off with their vanguard deployment at the back of the field, in the back of the enemy army, is our skin wolves, our Norscan warhounds, and our werekin. All are going to be waiting here to attack and kill the enemy lord and their range units, or at least that's the dream. Of course, these are high elven annoying range units, being Lothern's Sea Guard and the Spire Guard, or this is a Regiment of Renown. Those are all going to be very tough to kill this way. In fact, even with the chariots or anything like that, they're still going to be very tough to kill because they're the damn spear, half range units. And alright, we have Wulfrik moving up, but the main reason I wanted to move him up was to get that Sea Fang in there. Obviously, these guys have, I guess they have too much armor because that didn't kill any of them. Damn. I mean, it's a Regiment of Renown. I guess they're not fragile enough, but they did take about, what, 25% damage, maybe something like that? Alright, anyway, we are going to get the first enemy charge in. It will be a unit of these Illyrian Reavers. Yes, they are. And, oh, it looks like Wulfrik just got himself... Oh, there's a charge into our not our Berserkers, our Marauder champions with shields. Wulfrik got himself caged by the filthy Tory Vress magic. What does this do? Warden's Cage, minus 25% speed. If wounded, target character will be imprisoned for the battle. Yeah, good luck with that. Although I maybe shouldn't jinx us so much because Wulfrik has been taking a lot of damage lately. Anyway, the battle lines are getting ready to clash over here. We can see the enemy Phoenix and the Sun Dragon are going to go on a flanking run, and that is kind of an issue because we can't really get our anti-large units to them, and they are very much poised to attack this unit of Marauder Berserkers. In addition to that, most of our Berserkers I'm going to try to keep out of the water, keep them on the land, just so that they don't suffer that debuff from running around down there. Of course, these guys are going to still have to be there because the enemy has a fairly large flanking force in the water here, but by and large, we're going to keep as many units here as we can. Let's see what we got over here. Our quick units are finally running out of the woods and are going straight for the enemy archers and the enemy lord. We have 3 units for 3 units here. Obviously, the Werekin's going to target the lord, and the other 2 are going to go for the Lothern Sea Guard. I feel like the Beasts of Tashnar aren't going to do particularly well at that, but you know, what can you do? Okay, so it looks like we have the Phoenix landing among the Berserkers and doing a pretty crazy amount of damage already to them. I don't think they got breathed on. Oh, it might have been the Phoenix's special ability, huh? Okay, well, these guys are damaged by artillery? Wait, what? What are you talking about? Not only is it not damaged, but there is no artillery. But sure, I mean, I'll take the free leadership debuff, I guess. Okay, and the Sun Dragon, fortunately for us, actually does land among the Berserkers. Why do I say fortunately? Because it lands among the Berserkers right in front of our 2 units of Marauder Hunters with Javelins, who are going to just focus this thing down. As long as it stays here, it's going to have a terrible, terrible time very quickly. Cool model, but unfortunately for it, it is not going to stay alive. Alright, let's see what else we have here. We have our Marauder Hunters. I just keep focusing on the Marauder Hunters. Marauder Champions with great weapons against a unit of Silveran Guard. That should go in our favor, I would think, as these guys are great weapons, whereas this is an offensive unit and this is a defensive unit. So I would think that should be well within our favor. However, we are also kind of surrounded here by a second unit of these guys. If I had an extra unit of Javelineers, I would have targeted them to chuck their javelins into these guys' sides or backs, but unfortunately that is not the case. I do, however, decide to get the Brutes of the Hound and use them to actually attack instead of guarding the Wizard and guarding the Marauder Hunters with javelins. We can see how much the Sun Dragon has dropped here in terms of HP already. We're also going to get a little bit of damage from the enemy range units that are coming in and attacking our Zerkers and our range units back here, but that's to be expected. Obviously, our own range units are fairly fragile and won't survive that for long, so we will have to be careful. The enemy Phoenix over here has landed and is also distracting the Question Axers, which is a little bit unfortunate, and our unit is fleeing. Oh, it's this unit, yeah. So you can see how badly these guys got mauled by this Phoenix. I'm actually shocked by how quickly this happened. I feel like I should have watched this more, and I know that Berserkers aren't meant for this, but that's pretty damn crazy. They all got just obliterated here. I mean, damn. And they had fairly decent stats on top of it, but of no armor, of course. The rest of our Berserkers, fortunately, while hurt, are not doing horribly. They just really need to engage in melee here, because they need to start getting their buffs for being engaged. Now, we did try to have our Wyrkin attack the enemy lord, and it did a little bit of damage, but really not nearly enough. The enemy could just keep running from it, which was unfortunate for us, and then the Wyrkin finally got surrounded by the Illyrian Reavers. Of course, the Illyrian Reavers aren't going to kill the Skinwolf Wyrkin, which could kill them fairly decently, but it's going to take a while, which is a bigger problem. The Beast of Tashan are also helping out against the other Illyrian Reavers and using their damage, which is just fine. I mean, this is a fairly decent matchup. While our Maws of Savagery, this armored Skinwolves Regiment of Renown, chases down the rest of these Lothern Seaguard just to keep them from firing, if nothing else. The Dragon is about at half HP now, which is pretty darn good for us, but this flank is a little bit weird. We have this unit of Spearmen basically stopping this unit of Berserkers in its tracks, and I feel like I should have micromanaged these guys more to move them a little bit more forward, because I feel like not enough of them are attacking here. And the fight is pretty even for now. Now, the thing about Berserkers is that these guys have not rampaged, they've not gone enraged, they have not activated their their buff for being in combat for a long time. So while this is even-ish for now, enemy losing slightly only, it should change as these guys stay in the battle and just keep killing them. And especially as these guys... their elven prowess, martial prowess, drops. Now, unfortunately, the enemy Phoenix actually did decide to get away from our Berserkers because they rampaged, and then they started running and trying to attack these Spearmen, which is not good for us because the Flamespire Phoenix then, instead of getting focused down by all of our range units, is able to distract them. Now, obviously, we don't want a repeat of what we saw with the other Berserkers, so I will move the second unit here away while these guys distract him and continue pelting the Phoenix. Speaking of Phoenixes, this one has joined the fray over here with our poor single unit of Berserkers that's over here surrounded by 3 units of archers as well as the Phoenix among them. So that's definitely a problem. On the bright side, the dragon goes down. I kind of wish I had seen the actual kill there, but hey, you can still see the corpse with all the javelins embedded, magically in the air and around it and in it. Alright, so let's see how we're doing over here. The Marauder Champions being debuffed by Soul Blight. Okay, so the enemy's getting some magic off. We are also getting our own magic off periodically. I believe I used a Cascading Fire Cloak as well as a couple of other spells, which we have not really seen, but they haven't been the flashy, damaging kind of spells thus far, so that's exactly why. Now, I have been fairly impressed with these High Elven Rangers. They're holding and beating the Marauder Champions with shields here, basically this entire time. So, quite impressed with this unit. I mean, it is a dual sword unit, so you do, I guess, expect it to be pretty darn good against a unit that's shielded, that has one-handed and shields, as they should be doing this, but nonetheless. I feel like with our stats, but then again, the elves have the same kind of stats. It's just that this all surprises me more so because of the fact that the enemy army is in march stance. So their unit should be quite a bit weaker, but we're still having a fairly tough time. Obviously, we're not maxed out or anything like that, but nonetheless, we will have to be very, very wary of these guys. If Tyrion was here, I don't know that we could have won in the sea. We would have probably had to defend in the garrison, and there we go, keeping on pelting the enemy Phoenix. The enemy lord has died, and it was in fact Wulfrik that did it. The enemy lord was by itself here, and then I did send Wulfrik out. He's at half HP, but certainly more than enough to kill the enemy lord. I wish I had seen the charge, but it happened so fast. He killed the enemy lord in a couple hits, which not super surprising because the enemy lord was not a melee fighter, but nonetheless. And it looks like the Phoenix is going to revive itself here, unfortunately for us. It's got full HP again, even if it is routing. But it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Now that the enemy lord has died, the enemy army is going to get a lot weaker with regards to its leadership, and that's where we come in and try to clean house. The Spire Guard of Tori Vress here is just about dead. The Beasts of Tashanar have finished it off with the help of the Marauder Berserkers. We're going to turn around and keep fighting those spearmen, or start fighting those spearmen, as that's one of the full HP units that was running around in the water back here. We also have our Skinwolves. They're still fighting. They're slowly depleting the units of the Lothran Sea Guard, who are definitely holding on because of their defensive stats, but are also not doing any damage whatsoever to the armored Skinwolves. They really need help against them. And let's see, we have our Marauder Berserker, the unit that got routed by the Phoenix is coming back, and it's a little bit dangerous for it to do this because, ironically, it seems to have rampaged out of just standing there. I had actually moved it here after it had finished routing, and then just basically stood it, and then by itself, without any orders, it decided to rampage. Maybe they took a volley from the Lothran Sea Guard, and that made them just angry enough to do this, but it's really quite unfortunate, isn't it? Anyway, the other Phoenix is obviously now getting focused down by the Marauder Hunters with javelins. The exact same thing that was happening with that other Phoenix, with it being distracted by one of the Marauder Hunters while the other one pelts it with a ye old javelin spam. And once again, you gotta love that javelin spam. Hey Phoenix, how you doing, buddy? Bad? I hope bad. Okay, and let's see. Oh, right, this thing. We've had a unit of Marauder champions with great weapons engage against these spearmen this entire time, and it seems like they're about even. It says the enemy unit is losing slightly, but the fact is, I feel like they should be taking a lot more damage to these guys. Now, granted, they're probably better at doing a flank than just fighting as a fighting on the front line, but this is still a spearman, a very, very basic unit. So I feel like they should be ripping through them a little bit more. Wait, these guys were in march stance, right? I'm not crazy. Nah, regardless. Whether they're in march stance or not, it won't matter if we kill them all, but I'm 99% sure that I saw them be in march stance. Alrighty, and we're now using our Sorcerer, who's out of magic, just to chase the units off the field, just to keep them from coming back, as a lot of our units are hurt, and the main reasoning here is to try to keep them alive at this point. And yeah, I'm just kind of interested in this fight more than anything right now, because we've seen the monsters go down, and we've seen most of the units in the center, or maybe even all the units in the center route, and it looks like all of the units are going to rout. Now, the chain route is here. Enough units have gotten off the battlefield that this battle is over. We are, of course, going to chase down... Wait, are we going to chase down? I don't think we are. I don't remember anymore. Or maybe I do chase down because I don't remember whether this was in fact march stance, or I got concerned by the fact that all the units don't seem to be taking as much damage as they should be due to their alleged status of being in march stance. So then I just sent everybody in. But hey, everybody did okay. The Berserkers were the ones that took the brunt of the damage, as they usually are, which is not surprising. A couple of our units of Marauder Hunters also got quite a bit damaged, and so did this Marauder champion unit. I don't even remember what you were fighting. Oh, right, that was the one that was caught between two full units of Silveran Guard. I'm actually reasonably happy that they survived there. A Berserker unit in that situation would have gotten absolutely wrecked. I'm starting to feel like Wulfrik's army might actually need a couple more units of mainline infantry. The problem is that the Berserkers are being forced to act as frontliners a little bit too often. And I know that I focused at least partially on upgrading the Berserkers, so I feel like we should have them in our army. But maybe 5 is a little bit too much. Maybe we change it to 4, get another... and try to get another couple Marauders with, Marauder Champions with shields in here. Obviously, we're also going to get some Mammoths in here to shore up the lines, and the Mammoths can also sort of act as a partial front line. But I guess we'll see. And is that a gigantic boat? Damn. That's a pretty damn big boat. What the hell is that? Wait, is that pieces of one boat? That's... What? No, wait, seriously. What the hell kind of boat is that? Whose boat is that? I can't really tell from the structure. Okay, well that was an odd little digression, I suppose. Maybe it's could it be a crashed High Elf ships, the ones that are like regardless. There we go. Battle over. Boat is more distracting than the battle itself. Alrighty, there we go, a close victory, and I certainly agree it was a pretty close one. I enjoyed that battle quite a bit because of that. I was once again blown away by how useful the freaking Marauder Hunters with Javelins were. They easily took down the Sun Dragon, and they took down one of the Phoenixes and heavily damaged one of the other ones, which were the toughest units, probably with the exception of one of the elite units. I mean, the Rangers were actually holding their ground for a while, and I was a little bit disappointed with how one Spearman unit could basically hold off a unit of Marauder Champions forever, and they didn't really hurt each other very much. I just found that weird. I feel like a two-handed Marauder Champion weapon should be pretty darn decent against a Spearman unit, even in water, but whatever. Let's see, what else happened that stood out? Oh, right, one of the Flamespire Phoenixes, it just absolutely wrecked this unit of Marauders, and I guess we'll have to be really careful with them, and that's exactly why we really need to keep these Marauder Hunters with Javelins in this army and then replace them with Whalers. They definitely have a permanent spot here, because otherwise we would have had a lot tougher time against these dragons. Also, I was a little bit disappointed in our Werekin and its inability to kill the enemy Archmage. It seems like that's exactly what it should be good at, but it did very little damage to it, and it was chasing around the enemy Archmage as well, but to basically no avail, whereas Wulfrik killed the Archmage very easily. So it seems like Wulfrik is fairly decent against killing enemy lords, which is exactly what he's supposed to be good at least when he's not surrounded or getting shot up by like several hundred range units. Anyway, we are going to sacrifice these captives, I think. I really wish we could heal, but it's okay. The army is destroyed either way, and we got ourselves another Razor Standard, which is amazing. I don't know what I'm going to put it on, but we will probably give it to Wulfrik's army. The question is, what do we replace? We can't replace the Greyling Werekin or the Berserker. So, and I don't really want to replace the Wolfclaw banner either. I wonder if these guys give fear and stuff naturally without the Wolfclaw banner. I mean, I imagine they do fear, but probably not terror, unless this Regiment of Renown has something like that. But once again, I don't really want to lose that. Oh well, I'll have to think about it. Obviously, I am going to... Wait. Stance flagship expansion enables recruitment from shipbuildings. That's swell. I really wish that could also enable replenishment. But apparently not. We're not going to recruit anything here because there's nothing that we need to replace. So, anyway, I'm going to call this episode here, obviously, because we are very much out of time. Next time, Wulfrik is going to go back around here, and then we're going to try to get Volkmar the Grimm's buff for him. And I'm probably going to Google what the buff is and see if I'm remembering it correctly. And if it's good, then that'll be worthwhile. I suppose we could march Throgg over here and do a little bit faster, but Throgg is a little bit busy. And does Throgg really need the buff? I mean, once again, on paper, it feels like Wulfrik should be stronger than Throgg, but Throgg's been doing quite a lot better. He is higher level, though. So there's that. Plus, he does have the Berserker's headband. I'll think about it. It's just, I feel like if it is the melee defense and attack buff, I probably would want it on Wulfrik's army, because the trolls are doing pretty good as they are. And yeah, buffing them up would be nice, but they still have large splash attack, whereas the extra melee attack and defense, once again, if it is in fact the buff that you get for attacking these guys, or killing Volkmar, then all of the Marauders would probably benefit quite a bit more from it. Anyway, we'll see, and that'll be something to find out next time, while Throgg most likely destroys Lower Lorne Forest and then heads out to Kislev, who are now fighting the Vamps. I don't know where Tyrion went, but he might come back as well, which is why we haven't deleted this army, but it is definitely going to be the plan. In fact, if Wulfrik lands here at Longhi, we can transfer... I was about to say transfer the chariots, but that's not going to work either. We need to transfer them to Cirtha Ek now. But Cirtha Ek needs to transfer to Throgg. This is going to get confusing with the whole armies trying to approach each other and trade units. But I guess, once again, a problem for next time. So with that said, as always, I do appreciate any and all feedback in regards to the gameplay or the way I do things on this channel. If you have a second, please do take it to leave a like and write a comment to support the channel. It really, really does help. As always, all glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.